Alright, 1020H, how to swap out the belt. And you notice I have the machine up on the bench here, and that's to make it easier for me to work on. You could do the same. Just make sure you use a sturdy table that'll hold the treadmill while you're working on it, and get the help of someone else to lift it up and put it on there. Alright, to begin, switch off the machine and unplug the cord. Now come to the rear of the machine and remove the screws here to take the covers off on both the left and the right side. You can use this bar down here to prop up the deck. Pull the covers off. And now fully remove the rear roller. So do about 5 turns on each side at a time so you don't damage the thread on either the roller or the bolt. Lift the roller out, and I recommend reinserting the bolts into the roller so they don't get lost. Okay. And then set the roller aside. All right, now we're going to take off the motor cover. You can just release the screws here, back them up a little bit because there's a slot. You just lift the cover off. Cover is off. Set it aside. Alright, you gotta remove the screw here from the roller. I recommend using an impact so you can break it loose right away, and don't strip that the Phillips head. Right there. Pull it out and set aside. Okay, now what you gotta do is release this bolt here. The bar looks like it's in the center, so remember to get the roller in the center when you put it back on. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this bolt now. Careful not to hit stuff on the lower control board so it won't get damaged. Slip off the belt from the roller by get your thumb, press the belt to the right and turn the motor. That's gonna derail the belt there. Keep doing it till it fully slips off. All right, almost there. All right, that'll release pressure from the roller. And I'll remove the bolt on this side. Okay, now I recommend grabbing the tread belt and lifting it up to free up the roller so you don't smack your fingers on here, and just pull it out. Lift it up on the opposite side, pull it out, and then get the bolt that came out of it and put it into the threads so you don't lose it, and set it aside. All right, now we're gonna have to remove the left and the right side rail covers from the tread. So we're gonna unlock the treadmill and lift it up until it locks into place so we can get access to the rails. All right, when you have the deck lifted and locked into place, there's a screw you need to remove here. Another one, that one there, and that one. And when the screws are out, just grab the rail, lift it up all along there. Right there, it's coming out. All right. I recommend putting the screws in the holes so you don't lose them. Right now, the right side of the deck, the screws to remove is that one, this one, that one, and that one. Once the screws are removed, same thing, grab the rope from the bottom here, lift it up. There. And put the screws in the hole so you don't lose them. Side rails removed. We're gonna take the nuts off of that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and that bolt down there that's holding on the deck. And there's ones across the way on the right side also. Those need to be removed. On the opposite side, those are Phillips heads. So to get that job done, we're gonna lower the deck and we're gonna use this bar here to hold the deck up so that we can gain access to the nuts on the bottom. And the nuts are a 10 millimeter. So if you have a socket, you could put the socket on there and remove it with the drill up here. All right, with the deck lowered there, we're gonna get these bolts off. This one down here going through the belt, behind the belt, because it's looped around to gain access. Pop those bolts out. Set them aside. Now remove the bolts on the right side of the treadmill. Scoot the belt over. Back one again. Going through the side underneath the belt. Put the tool on the nut and remove it. Pop those bolts out. You can pull the belt so you can see the direction of the seal or the seam. Alright, so on this old belt here, the seam line point is on the right side, that's the highest point, so we're going to install the new belt with the seam in the same direction. Alright, at this point, the deck is loose. We can lift it up if we want to, but there's a rod or a plate. Belt needs to be above this bar, and then ways here there's another bar that rests on the second bracket from the front. Okay, this bar goes on top of like this. All right, so take this bar out and we'll set it after everything is in place. Tilt the deck. Slip the belt out. Wipe down the top there. Be careful of these rubber pads that are on the brackets here so they don't come off. They need to be on there to absorb the shock. Tilt the deck. Slip the belt over the deck. Alright, now we're going to get that bar with the cushion side up. We're going to go to the second, not the front one, the second one from the front, and we're gonna put the bar in through the belt, and we're gonna position this on top of the bracket here, like so. Alright, and we're gonna get the deck and position the hole through and drop in one of the bolts, alright, to hold it in place. We're gonna go to the right side of the deck. When you come to the right side, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be in on the left side, and it's hanging on the right side. So we're gonna lift the deck and place that in place. All right, have your bolt ready, and then lift the deck and place that bracket in. Okay, drop the bolt in through the hole, line it up. Right there, and then thread a nut onto the bottom of the bolt so it doesn't pull, doesn't come out. Do that to all of them. Drop in the bolt. Once you got the bolt on the right side set with the nut, come to the left side and put the nut on the bolt so it doesn't come apart again. Now don't fully tighten it, only use hand tight, because we're going to go in and tighten them all in a sequence. Line up all the other holes. Some you might not be able to see through, but just if you got all the other holes lined up and put a bolt through, just go ahead and give it a push down to push whatever debris might be in the hole or in the way. Alright. Put the nuts on. Hand tight. No problems there. For this front one, you can come in underneath the belt and put the nut on and tighten it up with your hand. Alright, with all the bolts in place, that means the deck is aligned, and you can go ahead and tighten them up. I recommend going in and tightening the first ones on the middle brackets here. After this one. There, the deck is in place now, and we're going to come to the front of the unit, and we're going to take the bolt off of the roller that we put on there, and we're going to loop in the motor belt and go into the walking belt and go all the way across. Okay, there's a hole here that the roller needs to go into. All right, there is the hole in the tube that the roller needs to go into. Okay, I'm gonna get the roller. Maybe take off the belt from the motor pulley to make this easier. And you gotta drop the roller into between the bracket there. There, it's in. But you got to make sure that the motor belt is on this side of the roller here. We're gonna get that bolt and reinsert it into the roller over here. you go ahead and get it as far in as you can by hand, and then use the tool. Alright, as you're turning in the bolt, make sure that the bolt goes through the roller rod there and into the other hole right there. Alright. Now at this time you can get the roller in the middle position where it was at. About there. Go a little bit more so we can loosen it later if we need to. At this point, grab the bolt that you pulled from here and just thread it into place. Pull or push the roller towards the screw. Alright, what you're trying to do is play around with it. Alright, find the hole right there. Now don't fully tighten it, just as long as you got it threaded in, so it's not harder to get on later. Alright, now we're going to check the roller and the deck. Okay, right here we got a considerable gap. Go to the other side, not the taper side but the flat side. Looks like we need to increase this gap a bit more, so to get it flat we're going to tighten up this bolt a little bit more. Okay, that looks about right. And we're going to get the roller, give it a wipe. Okay, take off the bolts that you previously installed. Alright, now slip the roller and under the belt. Align the bolt holes on the roller. That was threaded in. Thread the one on the right. Alright, now this bolt is going through that part of the metal there. That's what you want. Do it to the other side. Okay, it's on there. Make sure that the belt's on the motor pulley. Now slip it onto the roller pulley and roll the pulley backwards. Okay, now I recommend getting something rounded, something that's not going to hurt the belt, and push down as you roll. You can turn the motor to help you. There, the motor is the motor belt is on. Okay, now to align the belt, use the tool and push the belt that way as you turn forward on the motor. Okay, we're gonna go over one more tooth. Okay, there. Alright, that looks good. Okay, now check the belt so that it's even between the bolts and deck, bolt and deck, and the belt. Make sure they're even. Okay. Now start tightening up the bolts. 5 turns each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4. 4 on that one, and then 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do one more on this side. And 1. Right now we're ready to get the rails back on. We need the rails back on so that we can adjust the belt to align it. Screws off. Make sure you install the rail that's on its correct side. The one that you pulled off must go back into the same side. So now to help align this, look down where the screw holes is on the rail and then on the hole where on the bracket. And just push the rail into the channel. Use a rubber face mallet to pound the rail in if you need to. Okay, now go to the other side. Take the screws out. Alright, make sure that the rounded part is the part that you're putting over the belt. Okay? Now, same thing, I'll line up the hole, screw hole to the bracket and turn it in there. The mallet. Tap it down. Okay. Now grab all your screws and flip up the deck. Alright, we're pretty good on the left side. The holes look pretty good. I'm gonna tap it a little bit towards the back. I'm gonna give a little tap this way. Alright, that looks better. I'm gonna put my screws back in on this side. Alright, I got the screws back in there. Now I'm gonna go to the right side of the treadmill. On the right side with the deck up, I can tap it here. Alright, take a look. And there, the screw holes are in view now. I'm gonna go ahead and install all 4 screws. Okay, now I got all 4 screws on this right side installed there and there. Everything's set. I'm gonna drop the deck now and go to the next step. Okay, at this time, plug in the treadmill, turn it on. We're gonna check it for alignment. Plug that power cord back in, flip the switch on, and start the treadmill. First, let it start off at its slowest pace. Okay, we're looking to make sure the belt doesn't drift to the left or the right. Gonna speed it up a little bit more. Okay, that's at 3.0. Alright, the belt looks good. It's not drifting far to any side. It was a good thing we straightened out that roller up in the front before getting to this point. That's helped out. Alright, so since it's not going anywhere, I'm going to tighten this up 1 full turn on each side. Okay. Now I'm going to bring treadmill down to the ground so I can test to make sure that the belt is not skipping. Okay, with the treadmill on the floor, I'm going to start it up. Okay, with the treadmill on the ground, I'm going to start it up. After it boots up here, I'm going to put the speed 2.5. And I'm going to plant my foot down right in the center to make sure the belt's not slipping. That's good. That's what you want right there. So what I did when it was up and we're checking the alignment and I gave it one more turn, that's so it'll tighten up the belt a little bit more so that it wouldn't slip. And that's what you want right there. You want to be able to stomp on the belt and it not slip. That way you can walk on it. Alright, and that's good. And that's how you swap out the walking belt on the 1028. You can go ahead and put all your covers back on. Okay, in your case, if you had any issues with the belt and you notice that up from the top the belt is coming down this way, then what you want to do is tighten up that bolt so it pulls the roller up so that it straightens out the belt. And if it's too high up and the belt, you notice over there is going to the right, then you need to loosen it up to bring it down. If the belt on this side is creeping to the right, then what you need to do is you can loosen this up and this will bring the belt this way. If it's too loose, then you can tighten up this side and that's going to move the roller down this way and center it. On the left side, if your belt is creeping to the left, then you can tighten it up the bolt to bring the roller out and align it that way. Alright, for the beginner, I'm going to show what belt slip looks like. I'm going to back these out. Alright, that's what belt slip looks like. See that the belt slips when I'm pressing down on it.